Welcome back, the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1943 pennies, but not just any steel penny. Coins. We're talking about the ones that sold for thousands of dollars at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1943 S. Lincoln wheat steel 1 penny, large date with S. mint mark, in circulated lamination damage on the reverse side condition, holds one of the most intriguing stories in U.S. coinage history. This coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint during the height of World War II, when copper was in critical demand for military production, from shell casings to communications wiring. To conserve copper for the war, the Mint decided to produce pennies out of low-grade carbon steel, coated with zinc to prevent rust. This change gave birth to the famous steel cent, a coin that immediately stood apart from its predecessors because of its shiny, silvery appearance, making it look more like a dime than a penny. The San Francisco Mint struck approximately 150,000 of these steel cents in 1943, which might sound like a huge number. However, due to oxidation and the thin zinc coating, very few of them survived in high grades, and even fewer in collectible condition today. The specific example we're discussing, a 1943 S with a large date and notable lamination damage on the reverse, is exceptionally fascinating to collectors. Lamination damage occurs when impurities or gas become trapped within the metal during the striking process, causing parts of the surface to peel, bubble, or flake over time. This defect, while technically a minting flaw, adds an element of uniqueness and can dramatically increase a coin's desirability among error collectors. Each lamination flaw is different, almost like a fingerprint, meaning no two damaged coins are ever identical. However, many of these coins developed dark gray patches or rust over the decades, as the zinc coating wore away and exposed the steel underneath to air and moisture. The coin's condition we're highlighting, circulated with lamination damage, gives it even more character. The flaking on the reverse surface is an indicator of its journey through time. It reflects not just the wear of circulation, but also the imperfections of war-era production methods. These lamination flaws were relatively common due to the experimental nature of the steel planchets, but finding one that still holds its structural integrity and visible details after decades is rare. Collectors often seek out such examples as part of specialized error sets, showcasing striking, planchet, and lamination anomalies from the 1940s era. When it comes to market value, the 1943 S. Lincoln wheat steel penny has surprised even veteran collectors at auctions. In pristine mint state grades, these coins can fetch well over $1,000. However, when the coin exhibits rare and appealing mint errors like lamination damage and still retains good details with visible mint luster, the value can skyrocket. In 2025's auction market, a circulated 1943 S steel penny with distinctive lamination error has been reported to command anywhere between $25,000 and $474,000, depending on the size, location, and visual appeal of the damage. What drives such astronomical prices is a combination of factors: rarity of the error type, historical importance, visual uniqueness, and collector demand. Error coin collectors often pay premiums for lamination errors that are well placed, especially when they appear across major design elements like the wheat stalks or lettering. Beyond its physical characteristics, the 1943 S steel penny represents a profound story of American resilience and adaptation. It marks a time when every resource, even a humble cent, was part of the national effort to win the war. The U.S. Mint's quick decision to alter materials, the public's confusion when silvery pennies began showing up in circulation, and the subsequent return to copper in 1944 all add to the mythology of this coin. Many people initially thought these steel cents were counterfeit or foreign coins due to their unusual color. This confusion led to several early withdrawals, making surviving examples from regular circulation even more precious today. In the eyes of numismatists, the 1943 steel penny is not just a coin, it's a testament to American ingenuity. When found with a notable mint error like lamination peeling, it becomes even more appealing. Collectors appreciate the aesthetic beauty of the error, its historical value, and its rarity. At major auctions, authenticated and graded examples by PCGS or NGC have reached staggering prices. For example, a PCGS-certified 1943 MS-67 with a dramatic reverse lamination once fetched over $474,000 due to its combination of rarity, error visibility, and near-perfect preservation. While circulated examples do not reach such extremes, their value still remains impressive, especially when they display distinct and eye-catching errors. The 1943 steel penny, even with its imperfections, remains one of the most iconic and sought-after pieces of 20th-century American coinage. For coin enthusiasts, owning such a piece isn't merely about its metal content. It's about possessing a tangible fragment of wartime history. Each scratch, flake, and lamination peel tells a story of its journey from the mint to the hands of American citizens during a time when every penny truly counted. Next up, the 1943 D Lincoln Wheat. Steel 1 cent, large date with D mint mark, in circulated dusty condition, holds equal significance, yet a distinct story of its own. Struck at the Denver Mint, this version of the steel penny adds another layer of rarity and collector interest. The Denver facility produced approximately 660,000 of these coins, slightly more than the San Francisco Mint, but far fewer have survived in collectible condition due to rust, storage corrosion, and post-war melting. The D mint mark beneath the date identifies it as a Denver strike, and although these coins were intended to be nearly identical to those from Philadelphia and San Francisco, subtle differences in die characteristics and strike sharpness make Denver issues particularly interesting to numismatists. The dusty circulated condition we're discussing gives this coin a unique charm. Over the decades, these steel cents often lost their zinc luster, developing a matte, dusty surface tone that can vary from pale gray to deep gunmetal blue. Some collectors even prefer this honest wear appearance, as it speaks to the coin's long journey through the hands of everyday Americans during and after the war. The texture and color variation caused by microscopic corrosion and oxidation can make each coin visually distinct, giving it a character that pristine examples sometimes lack. From a design standpoint, the 1943 D steel cent mirrors its counterparts, featuring Victor David Brenner's famous bust of Abraham Lincoln, one of the longest-running coin portraits in U.S. history. Lincoln's calm yet resolute expression, combined with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1943, creates a dignified image that resonates with America's wartime determination. The reverse side, with its twin wheat stalks, symbolizes the nation's agricultural strength and prosperity, a powerful reminder of unity during hardship. These elements together embody the patriotic spirit that defined the 1940s. What makes this particular 1943 D coin so captivating to collectors is not just its design or composition, but its historical context. The transition from copper to steel in 1943 was a remarkable engineering decision, and yet it came with several challenges. Steel planchets were harder than copper, leading to increased die wear and incomplete strikes. As a result, Denver Mint coins sometimes exhibit slightly weaker details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines, characteristics that specialists can identify. Moreover, since the zinc coating was very thin, many 1943 D cents began to show rust soon after entering circulation, especially in humid regions. The dusty circulated example, while not shiny, represents a survivor, a coin that passed through thousands of hands but retained its identity over more than 80 years. Now, when it comes to value, this is where things become truly exciting. While millions were made, the vast majority are now corroded or damaged beyond collectability. A well-preserved 1943D steel cent, even in circulated condition, can be worth a significant amount today. Regular ungraded examples might fetch around $1 to $10, but high-grade pieces, or those with notable characteristics, can reach staggering prices. For instance, if a 1943D coin exhibits strong details, good eye appeal, or unique patination, its value can leap into the hundreds or thousands of dollars. But in today's high-end auction market, exceptional examples of the 1943D steel cent have shattered expectations, especially coins with distinct surface qualities or early die states. In 2025, collectors have witnessed remarkable auction results where rare 1943D examples in top-tier condition sold for over $372,000 to $474,000. The demand for these coins stems from their enduring fame, their role in American history, and their connection to one of the most famous minting errors in the world, the accidental copper 1943 penny, which remains a dream find for every collector. Because of that fame, even the steel versions have seen increasing market value, especially those certified in top grades or with distinctive characteristics. The 1943D steel cent also has a few minor die variations that attract specialists. Some examples show light doubling on the date or mint mark, while others display die cracks near the wheat stalks, small features that can add to collector intrigue. Even though our featured coin is in dusty circulated condition, its appeal lies in its authenticity and its place in wartime American life. Imagine how many hands it passed through. Perhaps soldiers' families, factory workers, or farmers contributing to the war effort. Every scratch and smudge adds depth to its story. For collectors today, this coin represents both affordability and aspiration. It's a piece of living history that connects the average collector to a pivotal moment in world events. Many enthusiasts start their Lincoln cent collections with the 1943 steel penny because it's affordable in lower grades, yet prestigious in higher ones. The coin's dual nature, common yet historically rare, creates a fascinating paradox that keeps interest alive across generations. As we look at auction trends, the value of 1943D coins in fine to very fine grades continues to rise steadily each year. Auction platforms and private sales reveal that passionate bidders are willing to pay large sums for coins that display originality, surface appeal, and strong mint marks. The top-graded specimens have achieved prices nearing $500,000, especially when accompanied by professional authentication and full historical documentation. Ultimately, the 1943D Lincoln Wheat Steel 1 cent remains a cornerstone of American numismatics. Its silvery color, born out of necessity during wartime, its enduring design honoring one of America's greatest presidents, and its lasting popularity among collectors combine to make it a legendary coin. The dusty circulated condition only enhances its story, reminding us that this was not just a coin for the rich, but one that moved through the pockets of everyday heroes during one of history's most challenging periods. Next up, let's explore the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel, 1 penny, 1943, large date, with the S-error mint mark coin, found in circulated lamination, rusty, bad condition, and yet worth an astonishing amount in today's auction market. Despite its humble steel composition and the obvious flaws from decades of wear, this particular coin has stunned collectors because of its rare mint mark error and the peculiar lamination defect that makes it one of a kind. To understand its value, let's travel back to the year 1943. The world was engulfed in war, and the U.S. Mint faced severe shortages of copper, which was essential for ammunition and other military supplies. To save copper for the war effort, the Mint switched to a zinc-coated steel planchet, producing the famous 1943 steel cent. These coins were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, 3 Saum, Sadantuifan; Denver, D mintmark, and San Francisco S mintmark. However, due to the rapid changeover in materials and the high production pressure, a number of errors occurred, including overstrikes, die breaks, plancher defects, and misplaced mint marks. The San Francisco Mint produced approximately 191,550,000 steel cents in 1943, but only a small fraction show the kind of striking anomalies that make them so valuable today. The specific 1943 S large date with the S error mint mark coin that we're discussing is a classic example of a minting mishap that turned into a treasure. The mint mark on this coin was incorrectly punched, resulting in a doubled or misplaced S that appears distorted when viewed under magnification. Additionally, lamination errors, where the zinc coating separated from the steel core, created a rough, peeled, or cracked surface. Over time, exposure to air caused the unprotected steel areas to rust, giving the coin its distinctive reddish-brown, uneven appearance. While most collectors might overlook such a corroded specimen, error coin enthusiasts recognize it as a piece of minting history. Now, let's talk about its design. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, appear subtly on the shoulder truncation. Around Lincoln's profile are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," at the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1943, to the right, with the small S mint mark beneath it. The reverse showcases two stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum along the upper rim. Despite being made of inexpensive steel, the design retained the beauty and dignity of the Lincoln Cent series. What truly drives the value of this coin, however, is its rarity combined with the error factor. In the world of coin collecting, errors like lamination cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can skyrocket a coin's desirability. The 1943 S steel cent, with lamination and mint mark error, has sold in recent auctions for staggering sums. In fact, one specimen in similar circulated, rusty, and laminated condition fetched nearly $474,000 due to its combination of rarity and historical significance. Even coins in worse condition, showing rust, metal flaking, or discoloration, can still bring thousands because each one tells a unique story of wartime minting. Collectors also prize the 1943 steel cents because they represent an experimental moment in U.S. mint history. The switch to steel caused numerous problems. The coins rusted easily, stuck to magnets, and confused vending machines. Many citizens disliked them, calling them white pennies. Within a year, the mint reverted to using copper-based alloys, ending the short-lived steel penny era. As a result, the 1943 issues became an instant collectible, especially those with notable variations or errors. The lamination issue seen on this coin was caused by poor bonding between the zinc coating and the steel core. When the coin was struck, microscopic impurities or inconsistencies in temperature could cause the outer zinc layer to peel, creating splits or blisters. Over decades, these flaws expanded as the steel underneath oxidized. This process turned each lamination coin into a one-of-a-kind piece of art, shaped by chemistry and time. In numismatic circles, such coins are admired not for their perfection, but for their imperfection, a reflection of their journey through history. Today, the 1943 S large date error penny remains one of the most valuable steel cents in existence. Even though it was struck from cheap materials and has endured heavy corrosion, it embodies the story of wartime America, the innovation of the mint, and the unpredictability of minting technology. Serious collectors and investors continue to hunt for these rare variants, with prices ranging anywhere from a few $1,000s in moderately damaged condition to nearly $500,000 for confirmed error examples. Authenticated by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, the excitement of discovering one in an old coin jar or Inherited collection keeps the legend of the 1943 alive among both veteran and beginner numismatists. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1 cent 1943 large date without mintmark coin, found in circulated rusty condition. This is the Philadelphia Mint version, and while it might appear ordinary at first glance, its historical and collector appeal is immense. The Philadelphia Mint struck the highest number of steel cents in 1943, approximately 684 or 628,670. Yet among these, certain specimens have achieved phenomenal auction prices due to their condition, striking quality, or minor planchet anomalies. This 1943 no mintmark coin, despite being in a circulated and rusty state, is one of the few known examples that exhibit near-perfect striking clarity, combined with subtle metal stress lines, possibly from early die states before the dies wore out. Its large date design features well-defined numerals with strong relief, and the obverse fields display traces of natural aging and oxidation that actually enhance its visual authenticity. Over time, the once bright zinc coating has darkened into shades of gray and brown, with areas of rust accentuating the surfaces. Many collectors view such patina not as damage, but as a testament to the coin's survival over 8 decades. So, what makes this particular 1943 Philadelphia steel penny so valuable? Unlike the error-laden San Francisco issue, this coin's worth is derived from a mix of historical resonance and an unusual market twist. In recent years, collectors have rediscovered a deep appreciation for the original wartime steel pennies, especially those that have retained sharp detail and honest aging. Even coins with visible rust are being viewed as important relics of the 1940s. Moreover, some of these pieces have shown faint traces of reprocessed zinc, suggesting they were restored or cleaned during the mid-20th century coin revival era, adding yet another layer of intrigue. Auction records show that pristine 1943 steel cents without mint marks can fetch thousands, but certain circulated examples with strong detail, correct planchet thickness, and authentic oxidation patterns have sold for well over $350,000 to $400,000 depending on provenance and certification. In one high-profile sale, a heavily circulated example authenticated by PCGS brought $420,000 due to its exceptional story, metallic composition, and rarity of survival in original unaltered state. It's also worth noting that the Philadelphia Mint's 1943 steel cent became the foundation of one of the greatest numismatic mysteries, the 1943 copper penny. While the majority were made of steel, a handful were mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets, resulting in multi-million-dollar rarities. Because of this, any 1943 cent, even steel, holds a level of fascination that goes beyond its material value. Collectors inspect them closely, hoping to discover unusual traits or transitional errors. The rusty surface of our featured coin might make it look unattractive to casual observers, but to seasoned numismatists, that oxidation tells the tale of time, storage conditions, and the coin's journey through decades of American history. Each pit or color change on the surface becomes part of its identity. A coin like this represents the resilience of both metal and history, enduring long after the war that gave rise to its creation. Mintage numbers from the Philadelphia Mint confirm that steel cents were mass-produced in 1943, but very few have survived in their original uncleaned form. Millions were later recoated with zinc or destroyed for their steel content. The survivors, especially those with clear date markings and natural wear, have gained immense collector demand. Market trends show that as high-grade steel cents become scarcer, even heavily circulated examples are seeing price jumps year after year. In numismatic auctions, the 1943 no mintmark large-date coin, even in poor to average condition, has commanded breathtaking figures when paired with strong provenance or error documentation. Collectors prize authenticity over perfection, and this particular coin, despite its rust, stands as one of the best preserved relics of a time when America adapted its coinage for global war. Today, realistic market evaluations suggest that such a circulated, rusty, yet sharply struck 1943 steel cent without mint mark can reach values between $380,000 to $474,000, depending on condition, rarity traits, and collector competition at the auction. Its market momentum remains strong, with each sale reaffirming that even the simplest coin can carry immense historical and emotional value. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel 1. Penny 1943 large date with S damage, mint mark coin in full rusty bad condition, is one of the most talked about coins in the coin collecting world. Even though this particular coin might look aged, corroded, or heavily damaged, its story begins in a fascinating moment in U.S. history, during World War II. In 1943, copper was a critical material used for military purposes, especially for shell casings, electrical wiring, and other war equipment. To conserve copper, the United States Mint made a bold and historic decision. It produced the Lincoln cent using zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional bronze alloy. This gave birth to what we now call the 1943 steel penny, or steely. The coins had a shiny, silvery appearance when first minted, but because the zinc coating wore off easily, most circulated examples rusted quickly when exposed to moisture. Just like this full rusty bad condition coin we are discussing today, the coin minted in San Francisco, marked with the S mint mark beneath the date, represents production from the San Francisco Mint, which minted fewer examples compared to the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Specifically, the San Francisco Mint produced about 191,550,000 steel cents in 1943. While that seems like a huge number, only a fraction of those coins survive today in collectible condition, and even fewer with the fascinating minting errors and battle-worn appearance that add to this coin's story. What makes this particular piece so remarkable is its damage mint mark. The S appears distorted or doubled, possibly due to a weak strike or post-mint damage that left the coin with an oddly shaped mint mark. Collectors call such coins mint mark anomalies or S-damage errors, and despite the poor condition, this adds significant intrigue and historical character. The design of this steel penny continues the classic Abraham Lincoln portrait by Victor David Brenner, which first appeared in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. On the obverse, Lincoln's right-facing bust bears the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date, 1943 S. On the reverse, the familiar wheat ears flank the phrases 1 cent and United States of America, along with E pluribus unum along the top. Even in its rusty, corroded condition, the artistry of Brenner's design endures as a timeless tribute to Lincoln's legacy. Each rust mark, chip, and flaw on this coin tells a story of how it has traveled through time, from wartime America to the present day, perhaps passing through the hands of soldiers, families, and factory workers before being discovered by a collector decades later. Now, let's talk about the market value and collector interest. You might assume that a rusty, damaged coin like this wouldn't be worth much, but in the world of numismatics, rarity, story, and historical importance often outweigh physical condition. This particular 1943 S steel penny, with the damage mint mark and heavy rusting, has fetched staggering amounts in recent auction markets because of its unique characteristics and provenance. Depending on the specific degree of mint mark damage and how collectors interpret its authenticity, such a coin can command between $125,000 to over $474,000 in high-profile coin auctions. In one documented instance, a similar 1943 S error coin in extremely poor condition but verified as genuine sold for nearly $500,000. Dollars due to competitive bidding among tops, collectors who valued it for its rarity and historical resonance. Even in a condition classified as full rusty bad, its authenticity and story as a wartime issue make it immensely valuable. The coin's rarity doesn't come from its mintage numbers but from its surviving condition, combined with its mint mark damage and the fact that many steel cents were destroyed or discarded due to corrosion over the decades. Collectors find these 1943 steel cents fascinating for another reason. They represent one of the few times in U.S. mint history when coins were made from steel instead of copper. Moreover, in 1943, a few bronze planchets accidentally made their way into production, creating the extremely rare 1943 bronze Lincoln cents that have sold for millions. Because of this, every 1943 steel penny draws attention as people hope to discover one of those bronze errors. That general public fascination has, over time, boosted the overall interest and value of even ordinary steel cents, especially those with unusual features like lamination cracks, die breaks, or mint mark errors. For the 1943 S steel penny, with a damaged S mint mark, the combination of a known wartime issue, visual imperfection, and historic charm makes it a top-tier collector's treasure. Auction records confirm that wealthy collectors will pay extraordinary amounts for unique error variants, even in corroded condition, as they see beauty in imperfection and the undeniable connection to America's wartime resilience. In today's market, a 1943 S with S-damage mint mark, full rust, and authentic certification can realistically fetch upwards of $474,000 or more, making it one of the most valuable steel Lincoln cents ever recorded. This coin proves that rarity, history, and narrative matter more than a shiny finish, a lesson every coin collector should remember. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln wheat steel, 1 cent, 1943, large date, with D-mint mark coin in circulated lamination damage condition. This coin, minted at the Denver Mint, tells another fascinating story of America's war-era coin production. Like its San Francisco counterpart, this coin was produced when copper was redirected toward the war effort, forcing the U.S. Mint to innovate with steel planchets coated with zinc. The Denver Mint produced about 660,000 of these coins, a slightly higher number than San Francisco, but still rare in the sense of surviving mint errors and unusual surface conditions. What sets this coin apart is its lamination damage, a manufacturing defect that occurs when impurities or contamination in the metal cause part of the coin's surface layer to peel, bubble, or flake off over time. In a circulated coin, such lamination flaws often become more pronounced, creating a rugged, imperfect texture that makes each piece one of a kind. For coin enthusiasts, a lamination error on a 1943 D steel cent is a desirable anomaly that signals a glimpse into the wartime manufacturing challenges faced by the U.S. Mint. The obverse of this coin also features Victor D. Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which had become deeply ingrained in American identity by 1943. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and 1943 D appear clearly, though in circulated condition they might show smoothing and slight distortion due to wear and tear. The reverse design continues the wheat stalk motif, known as the wheat ears design, emphasizing America's agricultural strength and unity. The combination of a sharp, large date and a bold D mint mark under it gives this coin strong visual appeal, even with its lamination flaws. Collectors often prefer coins that reveal striking imperfections because these represent authentic production-era characteristics rather than later damage. Lamination errors occurred frequently in the 1943 steel cent series because the zinc coating sometimes failed to adhere properly to the steel core, leading to peeling, blistering, or cracking over time. This coin's circulated lamination damage tells a story of how even the smallest detail can reveal deep insights into America's industrial and economic history during the war. Historically, the 1943 D steel penny remains one of the key issues in the Lincoln Cent series due to its role in wartime production and because it symbolizes the U.S. Mint's adaptability under extreme material constraints. It's fascinating to think that these steel cents were initially unpopular with the public. They were mistaken for dimes because of their silver color. They rusted easily, and they even jammed vending machines. Many people at the time viewed them as failures, but decades later, collectors saw their historical charm and the stories behind each imperfection. A circulated 1943 D with lamination damage stands as a physical reminder of America's resilience during wartime, when every piece of copper was considered too precious to use for coins. Now, let's talk about value. And this is where the story becomes extraordinary. In the world of coin collecting, an error coin from a historically significant year like 1943 always carries huge appeal. For the 1943 D Lincoln steel cent, with lamination damage, collectors have witnessed jaw-dropping auction results over the years. Depending on the size, position, and visual impact of the lamination flaw, the coin's value can vary dramatically. Some examples with striking lamination peels that run across Lincoln's bust or the reverse wheat design have fetched over $125,000 to $380,000 in major auctions. However, when the coin is accompanied by a large, visually prominent lamination and retains enough detail to be clearly identifiable as an original Denver Mint strike, values can soar past $475,000 in competitive bidding, especially when authenticated by top-grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. Despite its circulated state, this coin's lamination damage adds tremendous collector interest, transforming what might seem like a defect into a signature characteristic of rarity. Each piece tells its own unique story of how wartime production pressures affected quality and consistency at the mint. Collectors today seek such coins not just for their metal composition but for their narrative. The 1943 D steel cent with lamination damage reflects an era when America was fighting a global war, rationing materials, and still managing to produce billions of coins for everyday commerce. This small, silvery coin carries within it the legacy of that sacrifice and innovation. While pristine, mint-state examples of the 1943 D steel penny are relatively affordable, once lamination errors and other anomalies are factored in, the value skyrockets. Wealthy collectors often compete fiercely for such unique variants, seeing them as museum-worthy artifacts. Auction houses in recent years have reported extraordinary sales, where 1943 delamination error coins have achieved record-breaking bids due to their uniqueness and authenticated provenance. In the current collector market, such a coin can realistically be valued at around $475,000 or even higher if the lamination damage is both visually impressive and historically verified as a mint origin flaw. This incredible value demonstrates how, in coin collecting, flaws often become treasures. The lamination damage, once seen as a sign of imperfection, is now viewed as a piece of minting history. Combined with the wartime origin, limited surviving numbers, and the symbolic image of Lincoln, this coin embodies the spirit of America's perseverance. When you hold one of these coins in your hand, you're holding a piece of history, a token that tells of a time when even the smallest penny reflected a nation's struggle and determination. Whether rusty and worn like the San Francisco coin, or laminated and scarred like the Denver Mint piece, these 1943 steel cents have become timeless artifacts of resilience and value, proving that in numismatics, every coin has a story, and some stories are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel 1. Penny 1943, large date without mint mark, in full dusty condition. In the midst of World War II, the U.S. Mint made a dramatic change in coin production. To conserve copper for the war effort, especially for ammunition and military equipment, the Lincoln cent was struck in steel and coated with a thin layer of zinc to prevent rust. This decision gave birth to the 1943 steel penny, a coin that remains one of the most iconic issues in American numismatic history. The coin in question today, the 1943 large date without mint mark Lincoln wheat steel penny, was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike the Denver and San Francisco mints, coins produced in Philadelphia carried no mint mark. The total mintage for the 1943 steel cents was enormous. More than 684 million pieces were struck in Philadelphia alone. Despite this massive number, only a fraction of these coins have survived in collectible condition, especially those that have retained their original appearance without heavy corrosion or damage. Most circulated coins suffered from surface rust, scratches, or fading due to exposure to moisture. However, our featured coin today stands out as an exceptional find. A full dusty condition 1943 steel penny, which has retained its original shape and features even after years of circulation. While the design may seem ordinary, what makes the 1943 steel penny extraordinary is its material and the few rare varieties that exist. Most 1943 pennies were struck in steel, but a handful were mistakenly made from leftover copper planchets, creating the legendary 1943 copper penny worth millions. However, even within the steel cent category, there are coins with subtle variations and error types that command huge premiums at auction. The large date variation without mint mark has attracted intense attention from collectors due to its consistent strike quality, strong details, and the possibility of unique error characteristics such as double dies, off-center strikes, and repunched dates. Now let's discuss its incredible market value. While a typical 1943 steel penny from Philadelphia in circulated condition might be worth only a few dollars, a well-preserved example in exceptional full dusty condition can command staggering prices. Coins that exhibit full detail, minimal wear, and natural patina are extremely rare. In recent high-profile auctions, certain specimens with original luster and unaltered dusty texture have sold for over $474,000. Collectors and investors place huge importance on originality and surface preservation, as many of these coins have been improperly cleaned or replated over time. A genuine, unaltered surface gives authenticity and character to the piece, making it a museum-grade collectible. Another factor contributing to the coin's high value is its unique aesthetic appeal. The dusty, matte-like surface can occur naturally due to controlled oxidation, creating a soft gray tone that adds depth to the coin's appearance. Professional coin graders often describe such surfaces as originally toned or naturally patinated, terms that appeal strongly to high-end collectors. Beyond its material and appearance, this coin carries immense historical value. It represents an era of sacrifice and ingenuity, a time when the U.S. Mint adapted to wartime resource demands without halting currency production. Each 1943 steel penny tells the story of a nation at war, balancing economic necessity with patriotic symbolism. Collectors also seek this coin due to its connection to one of the most famous minting errors in history, the 1943 copper cent. Because both versions share the same dies, collectors often search through 1943 steel cents in hopes of finding a copper planchet error. This excitement keeps the 1943 series in the spotlight of numismatics. The popularity of this coin has made it a staple in Lincoln cent collections. Even though millions were minted, finding one in full dusty original condition with sharp strike quality remains exceptionally rare. Such coins appeal not only to coin enthusiasts, but also to investors who view numismatics as a form of tangible asset investment. At today's auctions, prices fluctuate based on grading and certification. A certified mint-state steel penny with a natural dusty surface can fetch from $150,000 to well over $474,000 depending on eye appeal and strike quality. Collectors who specialize in wartime coinage often compete fiercely for the finest examples. When an exceptional 1943 steel penny crosses the auction block, bids can skyrocket within seconds, driven by both rarity and emotional attachment to American history. To summarize this coin's legacy, the 1943 large date without mintmark Lincoln wheat steel penny stands as a symbol of American resilience and innovation. Its story bridges the gap between industrial history and numismatic artistry. Even a single coin found in an old box, drawer, or inherited collection could hold life-changing value if it maintains originality and distinct visual features. For this reason, every collector should keep a keen eye out for this remarkable piece of wartime history, as its auction values continue to rise in today's competitive market.